you've got the possibility of youngster versus old OG, all-time first ballot Hall of Fame great. There could be a torch passing in the Super Bowl. It could be young Jared Goff in just his third year out of Cal. First overall selection that few people were seeing coming from when he was in Cal. We all know there's a Pac-12, I don't want to say bias, because lately their games haven't been so terrific. Hashtag Cheez-It Bowl.
Nice.
So, but really, when he was coming out of college, I don't think people were standing, that's a first overall selection in the draft. The same way I get, kind of like Alex Smith in a way, right? In that regard.
I think that's fair, yeah.
Chosen first overall, but here he is now. First Rams quarterback to be in an NFC Championship game since Kurt Warner. And he can go and take down Breeze and then Brady? Is that possible? That Goff could do such a thing for the Rams? For the Los Angeles Rams? Back in the Super Bowl. Can we see that? And like I said, it's Goff, young guy, versus maybe Brady. And if that happens, you want to talk about storylines. Here's your storyline for that one. Where did the Rams win their Super Bowl when they were the St. Louis Rams? Greatest show on turf, Rams. They won in Atlanta, the old Georgia Dome, where their new building in Atlanta was opened up and christened with a Super Bowl.
By 1 yard. Ooh.
Where are the Rams going this year?
Atlanta.
To christen the new Falcons Stadium. Where did the Rams try and against who did the Rams try and win their second Super Bowl?
Patriots.
Who stood in their way?
Tom Brady.
Who could the Rams close shop up on potentially?
Patriots.
And Tom Brady and Belichick in Atlanta. Oh, gosh. Well, we have a field day with that when we go to Atlanta in a couple weeks, if that's the storyline. Then you flip the script here a little bit. Could it be Patrick Mahomes against Drew Brees? Could it be the young gunslinger from the Big 12 that nobody saw coming? That draft night in Philadelphia, and I'm sitting there with the NFL Network crew on the steps of the famed art museum, the Rocky Steps, and the Chiefs traded up in the first round, and I looked at Mayock and looked at everybody else, and we were saying, oh, this is for Deshaun Watson. Here comes Deshaun Watson. Andy Reid wants his West Coast offense being run by Deshaun Watson. Name of Patrick Mahomes came back out of the podium. Like, what? Then he sits all his first year, starts to get his feet wet, wets his beak just a little bit. Week 17 last year. And supposedly, the team that they went ahead and hopped up to beat to the Mahomes punch was the Saints. Could Mahomes now, in his first full year of starting, 50 touchdown passes? And on his 50th touchdown pass, he reached his 5,000th yard of the season? As we all know, kids got it. Imagine that kid on the Super Bowl stage, winging it sidearm, winging it no look. First right-handed lefty pass in the history of the Super Bowl. First lefty pass by a right-handed quarterback in the history of the big game. Imagine this kid, the fantasy football darling for so many people in the sound of my voice watching this show on audience right now. Watch this kid on that stage. Is it possible that the person standing in his way is Drew Brees? Joining Tom Brady as the only 40-year-old quarterbacks to play in the Super Bowl, as Brady was the first last year. What a matchup that would be. Then you can have the two kids go against each other. Kids are all right, if you will. You have two kids going at it. That means you're going to have somebody under the age of 25 hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. Could we have 1 year after the first 40-year-old quarterback playing the Super Bowl? Not one, but two. 40 versus 41-year-old. Breeze versus Brady. Sean Payton versus Bill Belichick. The ultimate X's and O's chess matchup. The one coach, as Brian Billick loves to point out, only coach in the history of coaching, who likes to take away the one thing you do in Belichick versus a guy in Sean Payton who you just can never guess what's coming. Come on. We're great. We're great any which way. I believe deep down, CBS and president of CBS, Sean McManus, I think deep down they are hitting their knees at night praying to the football gods for Brady versus Breeze.
Why do you say that?
Because it's two guys who have been at it for quite some time. It's two guys that everybody knows. It's two first ballot Hall of Famers. It's two guys that because the Super Bowl is a game where the whole country is going to be interested in watching, and who's the one that might actually get the most interest in watching is the two most recognizable names. And Patriots are the Patriots from the Northeast. New Orleans is every single time there's a game involving two teams of a nature that's not the Saints. 9 times out of 10, the largest out-of-market audience is New Orleans. They are just nuts about football. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the famed Chiefs-Rams game, the so-called defense is dead game, the Week 11 Monday Night Football game, I do believe outside of Kansas City and Los Angeles, the largest viewing market was New Orleans. Me, it's the Rich Eisen show.
That's true. It is. Yeah. It's everywhere.
By the way, that could be the least self-aware statement I've ever said. Me, it's the Rich Eisen show. There are two I's in Rich and Eisen. So, prior to the season, Labor Day, I had an epiphany. Because I knew the next day I had to be on the NFL Network for the NFL Game Day Morning Season Preview program, on which we make our predictions for the Super Bowl. I had an epiphany. I woke up and I saw Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta. I knew the Rams with my good buddies Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce. I had a touch of the Vermeil.
Nice.
That day. And I knew they won their Super Bowl in Atlanta. Last time the Super Bowl was in Atlanta, Rams won it all, christening the new beautiful stadium down there in the ATL. And I thought to myself, what great storyline would it be if Tom Brady gets back to the game for a third straight time and faces the franchise now in Los Angeles that he denied a second Super Bowl trophy to in his ascendancy. I saw it. And I went on the NFL Network. I came on this show, the Rich Eisen Show, and I said, Rams over Patriots, Super Bowl 53, book it. Middle of the season on the NFL Network when we do mulligan opportunities. Not really middle of the season, Thanksgiving. When the Rams and the Chiefs had just played a big game. When the Saints were in the midst of winning all those games in a row. It was not till the next week when Dallas ended their winning streak that started after they got Fitzmagicked in week 1. I could have gone in a different direction. No, I stood my ground. I said, nay, I turned down your mulligan. Patriots lose to Rams. Playoffs start on NFL Game Day morning prior to the wild card games.
Playoffs?
That's right. It was time. Last chance for a mulligan. Patriots needed some help to get that 2 seed from the Eagles beating the Texans, as we all know, in the penultimate week. Rams limping in to the bye week, getting some wind at their sails from the big in the community, C.J. Anderson, out of nowhere.
I mean, easy.
And the Big Easy, a spot they'd have to go to most likely to win. Would I take that mulligan? Nay, I did not take that mulligan. From Labor Day to this day, Rams over Patriots. And in order for that to happen, we have to see both Championship Sunday road teams win on the same day since 2012 season.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.